Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shift. This week we are mainly going to be for grumpy gits. I think that's probably the one.
You three are.
All right, calm down. Just because you're a toddler and they're about to stop you driving with your mates.
I'm right. I've had some paracetamol. I'm a bit fruity tonight.
Milton's on the hardcore narcotics.
Yeah, capsules, not tablets.
He's up past his bedtime too, and that's not water. So if you're under 25, congratulations. The government doesn't want you to be able to transport your friends in case you start a revolution or something. I don't know.
Under 25?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But I'm just going to caveat this with, if it passes into law, they'll pick a date and it'll be, if you get your license after this date, it'll apply to you.
I like the fact that pretty soon Matt's fiance is not going to be able to drive any of us around legally because we're just going to claim that she can't.
It's what? 20? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you want to actually give the context to everybody watching?
Yeah, the government wants to control your movement. Next topic.
So, there's a new law that's going to pass. If you pass your test after X date, you will no longer be able to take passengers for a year. Is it a year?
Mm.
A year of having your license. And once you've got after a year, then you can have passengers.
Oh, that's not what you said. That makes
I should have opened the story. I forgot to open the link when I sent it to you. There we go.
I think it is a partially good idea, but 25 is...
So here we go. The proposal suggests banning new drivers under the age of 25 from carrying any passengers, also under 25, in their vehicles for up to a year after passing their test.
But they can take people over 25 because people over 25, your lives don't matter.
What they basically say, what they're trying to do is, it's more modified car, anti-modified car thing, and people being stupid. That's the only reason I can think that they want to do it.
Because I know when I go to an event, all my mates go in separate cars, so that's not an issue.
I don't see any other reason.
Modified car thing. I think it's just people are terrible at driving when they first learn, and they need to concentrate. That's what they're going for. Like, I've been in the car with young people. Jesus fucking Christ!
I remember when my mate got his car, and we drove everywhere, and we were safe. But we got up to some stuff.
I think to come at this from the it's not a bad idea side. Like, if you think about your bike test, you can't carry a pillion passenger until you've done your big boy test.
Agreed, yeah. That's a good idea.
So maybe
maybe
a more sensible thing is you can't have a car over 1 litre.
This is something we've floated before. We've mentioned the difference between bike tests and car tests. And in theory, all this is doing is just bringing them more into line.
Yeah. What I don't think is fair is, if I've got rich mummy and daddy, I could pass my test at the age of 17, walk into Mercedes, BMW, Audi, and finance a 400 horsepower.
If you've got rich mummy and daddy, you're buying it outright.
Yeah, you could finance that if you're poor.
No, they're trying to teach you a lesson about money, so it's financed.
I know what you're saying.
They pay for the insurance.
Out and buy a 500 horsepower RS3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've driven...
And that's fine. But you're not allowed to take your mate with you.
Yeah.
When you bought it.
That means all your mates have got to go in their own cars, so you end up racing them instead.
Yeah, I thought we were trying to use less cars.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? If you're not allowed to take your mates anywhere, they're in their own car, and you're going in 3 cars.
You're going to race them because you're immature.
I'm on board. I'm on board with it. I think it's a good idea. The problem is, if you've got your friends in the car, they're distracting. And when you're only just past your test, you've not been driving for that long, none of it's second nature. Like, it's not instinctive and you're not concentrating. That's what they're trying to avoid. They're trying to make sure that you're actually concentrating on driving because you haven't got a fucking clue what you're doing. And I think that's actually right. I mean, horrible. If I was one of those people, I would think it was absolutely awful that I couldn't take my friends. But it's actually kind of sensible.
I've got another question.
What's the statistic?
What's
the statistic of crashes for the reason why? It's in the article.
Is it? I didn't read the article. I just
it's like
come on and cause
5% of the crashes are young people, but they're always the most fatal ones.
But that's because the rest of the crashes are caused by 90-year-old Doris doing 10 mile an hour.
One of the contributing factors in accidents involving young drivers is from crashes influenced by peer pressure, which goes back to my modified car thing. But
it's all
these
cars.
drivers make up only 6% of drivers in the UK.
Yeah.
But they account for 1 in every 5 serious or fatal crashes.
So 20% of the fatal crashes are by young people.
But that's because young people are inherently braver than old people.
Young people are
brave
poor
are stupid
decision makers.
I was a great decision maker when I was younger.
How's that mini?
What was that, Bryn?
Nothing.
How was that mini? Someone else crashed into me. An older person.
You can read that on the edit.
Also, so my other problem with this is I used to work with someone who got a job doing a driving job, who'd had his license for 2 years and not driven anything since passing his test. This doesn't apply to you. If you go and get your driving license at 17 and then don't drive until you're 23 and own a car, you can take passengers because you've had your license for longer than a year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a bit... I think it makes more sense to run it more like the bike test and have it so that you can have a 1 litre car, you can't have passengers for however long, and then you do big boy test and you can drive whatever the hell you want.
Problem is when you're... Bless you.
Thank you.
When you're over 25, you can go straight and do your big boy test.
Yep.
And then you can drive whatever you want or ride whatever you want.
Yeah, well, the whole logic is once you get to a certain age, you've got a little bit more common sense.
I did not have common sense when I was 25. You all knew.
I said a little bit more. I didn't say you've got a lot of common sense.
I mean, I now know not to do a burnout in the high street and to do it when in a country lane. Yeah. So is that the level they mean? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We've all done illegal things. We've all admitted to that at some point.
No, we haven't.
In Mexico.
It was all in Mexico.
Or on private structures.
Yeah, but the difference is we know there's a time and a place if you're going to do something like that, and it's not past a school in a 30 zone.
Yeah, don't drift past local schools. The mums don't like it.
The dads love it though.
That's an actual quote from the Drift What You Brung safety briefing. When you leave, don't dump your dead tyres. Don't be a twat, and don't drift past the local schools.
People ruined it for us.
That's the problem.
People are the problem.
We're not getting back onto Bryn's political point because for the last 4 episodes we've concluded that Bryn should be allowed to kill everybody, and I don't think that's okay anymore.
I'm just saying, statistically, if 25% of the world's population got killed, you probably wouldn't have any passenger friends to take in your car.
All right, so we're killing 25% of this. Which one of us 4 dies?
It's random. It doesn't matter. You can't decide.
It ain't gonna be me. I'm gonna deal with it. I
don't think you understand how random works.
I do. I'm gonna rig the random number generator.
What if you kill death first?
Yeah.
What?
Tangent.
What happens if we murder death? Bryn, what are you gonna do if me and Milton gang up on death and kick crap out of him, and then he can't kill us? Assuming that Death's a man, of course. I'm screwed if Death's a woman, because I won't hit a woman. That's the secret ploy. That's how he's got away with it forever. Bryn is looking so confused right now.
So, is that next month's slap is people are the problem?
No, because next month's slap's lewds, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe furries are the problem for that.
You can't say that.
Everyone's got their right to be into their own thing.
Furries are people too, except they don't think they are.
Yeah.
We are well off topic.
We're not off topic though, because what we're proving here is right that How old are you, Milton? You're the youngest one, aren't you? Or is Bryn the youngest one?
It's definitely me.
Yeah. How old are you, Bryn?
Not 30.
Starts with a 2, so he's definitely the youngest.
So yeah, but I'm 37, right? So between Bryn and me.
Wait, are you grooming him?
Yeah. Next question.
He's already in his dressing gown.
What if every 5 years of driving you get to take another passenger?
That's what?
Sam could have a minibus at this point.
And how are they going to judge that? Like, pull over. This person's got 3 people in their car. They've not been driving 15 years.
Well, that's the other question: is how do they police it? Other than looking at someone who looks young,
pulling them over
because they've got a passenger.
So imagine you're on the M6 or whatever.
Oh, and I want to imagine the M6.
Yeah, and you've got a passenger in your car. You've not been driving a year. Are they going to pull you over on a new smart motorway that's still being made? So the lanes are really small.
They're not finishing it anymore, so they're just giving up. They're packing their tools up and going home, just leaving it as it is.
What, the small, constant 50 mile an hour?
That's a whole other topic.
It's not.
Yeah, but then what are they going to do? You're going to pull over?
The odds are, I don't think they're going to pull you over on the motorway. If anything, it'll be while you're driving around town. That's where they'll get you.
What they'll do is they'll spot you, take a picture of you, and send you a fine.
Also, doesn't it encourage drink driving, so there'll be more accidents? Because you can't have a designated driver.
Well, Milton's got a point, though. You'll get caught on ANPR cameras. Because they'll clock you. You'll go, right, that's who owns this car. They'll check your license. You've got passengers. Here's a fine.
But what? Like...
I even saw somebody get a fine for having a sticker on their windscreen from the motorway camera. And that's what they'll do. They took a photo of his car and went, your sticker across the bottom of your windscreen obstructs your view. Here's a fine.
Good job I'm tall and mine doesn't. I think, I don't know. I think it's... I mean, it definitely, when you're young, you want to go out drinking with your mates. So you will go out and party. And, when I was younger, we had a designated driver. But if you're not allowed to drive with passengers, then...
So if we're all meeting up, that means that we're taking 4 cars to the pub.
Yeah.
As long as we don't do it in Birmingham, because that'll be classed as car cruise.
Yeah, and then we're drinking 12 pints.
Well, no, we've had more than 2.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you couldn't even do that in Birmingham because you have to pay the low emission zone 4 times. That's what they're doing it for. They want you to take 4 cars so you pay the low emission fund.
These old people are trying to rob us youngsters once again. There's only one solution. Revolution! Let's have a riot!
I'm sure they'd rather you take no cars, because let's look at the scale of danger here. 4 people who've all been drinking and decide to drive. That's obviously a bad thing, right? 1 young person who hasn't even been driving for a year with a car full of drunk people. You really think that's safe? You think that's not the 20% of accidents that are killing people? I tell you right now, the person behind that driver, who is also a 17-year-old or whatever, who's been drinking, they're putting their hands over your eyes. That's happening. That's exactly what's happening.
That's not what happened in my car.
Checkmate.
Not checkmate, Bryn. You're wrong.
Hands up, everyone in the audience who's ever been in a car full of drunk people and one of them's done something really fucking stupid. I knew a drunk guy in a car. We took him home and he jumped out of his own car. No, he really did. He was in a coma for quite a while, actually.
That's yeah, but...
So, let's not have a car full of young drunk people.
Yeah, but what you're assuming is all young people drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, you're the exception, not the rule, mate.
Yeah, but...
Just accept it, Matt. You're weird.
You're weird.
But not every time you give somebody a lift, you were picking them up from a pub or something.
I don't know. I lived in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't a lot to do.
I remember we used to go to the gym, going to work. That was always, and we just go for drives.
To a few skate parks as well.
Just being able to just
couldn't do that
be,
anymore.
because it was a freedom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I agree with it on a moral level. I'm just saying the logic makes total sense.
But on a moral level, which is also a really important thing by which we should measure these decisions, it's somewhat discriminatory.
Yeah.
The other thing to look at here is the fact that it's for 1 year, it's not forever.
Agreed.
1 year is forever when you're 18.
Yeah.
It's an 18th of your life.
That's forever.
Matt, do a Google. You know it's 1/5 of dangerous crashes are from young people.
Yeah, how many of them for drunk middle-aged men?
No, well, what's the what's the opposite end of the scale? How many times do you see? It's not always a crash, but it could always be a crash because you've got Ethel.
Let's have a look.
Poor Ethel always gets the blame. She's driving 30 mile an hour down a 50 country lane, or a dual carriageway, but it's only got one lane, or it's not enough room to overtake, and it backs up the traffic, and that causes a accident. It's not a major one, or
he's right,
or it causes road rage because you're so annoyed you end up doing something more dangerous.
He's right, because I saw her this morning and I was so distracted by the fact that she kept bouncing off the inside curb every 3 meters that I nearly crashed into something.
Further question to that. How many of the 20% of crashes are people crashing into Ethel because she's doing 30 mile an hour and Ethel's the one that dies?
Oh yeah, Ethel will definitely die. Cars aren't safe for old people anymore.
Yeah. Like, what if that 20% that the youngsters are writing off is just the old people? And actually, it's like the circle of life.
I don't think that's how the circle of life works.
So I found a driving statistics website. I think this is 2020. Drivers aged 16 to 19, so obviously it's including people on mopeds and stuff lower than 17, not cars, are 38% more likely to be killed or seriously injured than drivers aged 40 to 49. And drivers aged 20 to 29 are 65% more likely to be killed or seriously injured than drivers aged 40 to 49.
Okay.
That's what we've got.
So what about the 14-9 plus people?
I just don't. I think it's
8 minutes and 47 seconds.
Do you think it's to make the car market like research? Milton, you're a twat.
No, I don't think it's got anything.
Because then everybody's got to buy a car. Everybody's got to buy a car. So there's your used car market making money again.
You're reading too much into this. Like I said, it's literally for 1 year.
Yeah, but 1 year means everybody, as they start driving, immediately buys a car.
But say I pass my test,
and
then Bryn, my mates were from Bryn, and it's been about 3 months, and then he passed his test, but he's like, I'm not waiting another 9 months to then go places, so I'm going to get my own car now, actually. Yeah. If we'd have passed around the same time, he'd go, I can get away with just having lifts.
You know what I would have done if this was a thing when I went and passed my test? Actively went and passed my test sooner than later. Because I didn't go and do my driving test until I was 18. So I'd have done it at 17 so that I had that 1 year period before I actually wanted to start driving.
That's really dangerous, because then you've got a year out of practice.
Yeah, but that's
you
my
not
point.
Want to drive as soon as you pass your test?
The way that the law sits as it is, it doesn't make any difference how long it is since I passed my driving test. 1 year after passing my driving test, I can take all the passengers in the world. There's no, you have to be driving on your own for X amount of time.
Caveat then, do you think everyone, if we can't do the 1 litre thing, everyone should have a black box?
No.
To get decently priced insurance at somebody who's 17, you will have to have a black box. There's no way around it.
Rather die.
But it's more because that way you can go. This person drives late is inappropriately and no.
That's black box, right? You get a black box, and it proves that you're really, really good and sensible at driving. And then 6 months in, they send you a letter saying, "Hey, you can take some friends with you now."
No.
Yeah, like we can see that you haven't broken the speed limit once.
I mean, that's the flip side. The way of doing it is as Bryn says.
There is no.
You've driven...
Have your box. You prove you're a sensible driver, and then they go, right, okay, you can take passengers.
And it's picked up. You've driven 10,000 miles.
Either way of doing it, whether it's a year or done with the box or whatever, the second you're allowed to take passengers, you could just change your driving style anyway.
I'm so anti this, you raging bunch of fascists. It's untrue. You're basically talking about tracking people's movements so you can tell how they are and aren't behaving, so that you can penalise them for it.
Can I just point out, when I had one of these black boxes when they were probably about 10 years ago when they first introduced.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
When they said, yeah, here's this box, we'll know how you're accelerating, whether you're speeding, all of the rest of it. I'm like, oh, great. So if the car gets stolen, you'll know where it is. No. How can you know where I am and what the speed limit is and if I'm speeding, but not know where the car is if it gets stolen? That makes no sense.
That's cool.
They definitely knew. They just didn't want to commit to telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than likely.
This is a punishment, not a service.
Yeah.
I had a black box for 1 year and I never had another one.
Screw the corporates that want to control you. Rebel, rise, resist, buy violent running merch.
But that's actually, what if you say your first year, it's 1 year or 5,000 miles, or
my problem
that proves that you've
my problem with this whole thing is, as Bryn says, it makes sense that young people are distracting. It's distracting to have people in the car, blah 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 blah. But as we've talked about it, there are far too many loopholes and ways around it that it just you just couldn't.
What's more distracting? Your mate in the passenger seat playing Darude Sandstorm as loud as your poor little 6x9s can go, or your mate playing Darude Sandstorm next to you in the car next to you, as loud as it can go, but they're controlling it. While you're both going down the same dual carriageway and you both trying to sync up the song at the same time.
That's some serious level of irresponsibility. I think you deserve to crash at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but how cool would you look? Because
Milton has tried that.
No, I actually blew a speaker in one of my cars because we had a classic FM on too loud.
Well, there you go. That's why they should limit the volume that young people are allowed to have their stereos at until you've been driving for long enough that you've got hearing damage.
We're getting dangerously close to subscription services again, where they control what your car does.
But that's my point. They're just controlling what you as a person do. Fundamentally, it's not okay.
You as a person have proved that you can't be trusted because you're all wank.
But they haven't proved that. They've literally just started driving, and you're going, nah, I can't do that. We know you'll fuck it up. And it's disrespectful.
But they will, won't they, Bam? They will fuck it up. Have you met Gen Z?
Bam, question. I'm over 25. I go to take my full bike test.
Yeah.
What's stopping me going out and getting a 1000cc Hayabusa?
Nothing.
And doing 200 miles an hour on the A1?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, the dependent size of your stones, to be honest.
Yeah, my testicles and my grip of holding on to the bike.
Yeah.
But, I don't understand how the age...
All right, let's think about it. Let's think about it like this, right? Should it be everybody just in their first year of driving? So, when Laura passes her test, should Laura be allowed to transport me about in her car?
Is the point.
Yes, but you're old, so yes, you're allowed.
You're over 25, so you're fine.
But also, what if I pass my test? I can be immature. I'm not, because I am.
And that's my point. That's my point. What you're doing is making a prejudiced decision based on people being younger. It might be based.
If you want to go down that route, we'll just complain about how high car insurance is for young people.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
It's the same thing.
Why don't they make passengers an optional extra on insurance?
Like it is for motorbikes, pillion insurance.
Yeah.
Because...
Sorry, I can't give you a lift, Mum. I don't have the insurance. You'll have to walk home with the Asda shopping in the rain.
Yeah. Or I'll take the Asda shopping home and you walk home in the rain. That's okay.
Yeah, I didn't think about that bit.
Or she'll turf you out of your own car and you can walk home in the rain. Yeah. Or she can just give you a lift home. She
can drive. That.
What if you're both on a long drive, your mum's shot and she gets sleepy, so you swap drivers because it's safer?
If you're 17 and your mum's under 25, you've got bigger issues.
Yeah.
And it's fine because your mum will be older than 25, but as soon as she falls asleep, it's illegal.
Yep.
That's a whole different story.
What? Are we talking about learner drivers here?
Well, it would have to be a similar thing, wouldn't it? You're only allowed passengers if they're over 25 and awake.
Does that mean you can't be an instructor for a year?
Yeah.
I should fucking well hope not. Imagine turning up to your lessons. Hi, I'm Ada.
Well, yeah, you turn up and there's me in the driver's seat. I'm teaching you to drive.
Isn't that how it goes at Drift Days, Milton?
Oh, I do play that game. It depends on if they look nervous or not. I go, I hope I don't crash today. Or I'm pulling up to the queue and I'm sort of dabbing the brakes or sort of squeaking the wheel, or that doesn't feel right, or that doesn't. Or I go,
fuck you.
Well, this is how we're going back into it. So we changed some things about our settings, and we just got turfed out of the software that we use to do this. So, Milton, you were talking about scaring people when you go on the laps, and
so I would.
Brynner's keeled over in horror at the concept of the government controlling his children's driving lives.
Casting couch Bryn. I would play the game of either I hope I don't crash today, or I'd wiggle the steering wheel, this doesn't feel right, or I'll go, this isn't my car, it's my dad's car, and I'd point at someone else in the queue and go, that's my dad, go tell him how good I did. And then I've had one passenger actually go talk to someone else.
Brilliant. But I think getting back on topic, I do think it's a bad idea. I do think it's I think it's a really sketchy play. From
positives?
Positives are, I mean,
3 positives. Round up.
Less dead.
Matt, positive.
That's probably about it. That's the reason they're doing it.
Bren, you got any more positives?
Less deaths because you can concentrate on driving.
The thing is, what they're proposing makes sense because in theory, less people are going to die.
Mm.
But I can't see a practical way of them implementing it in such a way that it's fair. There's too many loopholes.
You did find this in The Guardian, didn't you, Matt?
Amongst other places.
Matt reads The Guardian. Of course, Matt reads The Guardian. Anyway.
No, I got sent it. Somebody sent it to me.
By one of the chaps down at the bar.
Actually, Nicole sent it to me.
Cole definitely reads The Guardian.
And she was enraged by this news.
She was furious. She wrote a strongly worded letter.
Furious Guardian reader.
The thing is, this whole thing is, it's somebody's proposed it. It's made a load of headlines, and this is the last we'll hear of it.
Mm.
Because how many other things have they proposed like this? They were on about taxing your car per mile. Yes. That never materialised, did it?
Yeah, and those
just another one of those
cameras.
Things.
They do it.
How well do you think
that's one of the rare occasions it hit headlines and it passed.
How well do you think this law would have gone down if it was proposed 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
Even less.
Different generation.
I think what we've got is a situation where the generation before us is getting more and more enraged by the world they've created.
Enabled.
And desperately.
Enabled is the word.
Created. And they're desperately trying to control it because it's all gone a bit mental. And as part of that, they're just trying to punish young people. I don't think it's right to remove anyone's liberty to get around. I mean, for example, situations that could arise that actually this is a really bad idea for. young Milton is being abused by his parents and phones me up and goes, "Bam, I desperately need rescuing, but I've only been driving for 6 months. But I'm the only person Milton trusts to get him out of there.
Yeah.
I can't go and rescue Milton. I'm getting arrested."
Put him in the boot.
All right. Another question. You're 21. You've just passed your driving test, and you've got a 1-year-old.
Yeah. Hospital. Emergency hospital visit.
Or just in general, like.
You wouldn't be allowed to take your child around because your child is under 25.
Yeah.
Is this a passenger? What if they're cargo and you put them on the roof? Ratchet strap.
That's a whole different illegalness.
Is it illegal though? What if they're in?
I'm pretty sure there's this whole thing called human
straps.
trafficking that's all about not treating people as cargo.
I'm fairly sure under the law somewhere it will say that you have to be inside a car and strapped into it.
You have to be wearing a seatbelt if you're in a moving vehicle, or you get.
These laws sound like drift day rules.
My child has a car seat that's got a harness built into it, and then the car seat's then just clicked into an ISOFIX. What's the difference between an ISOFIX inside the car and a set of roof rails on top of the car?
The real crime, the real ban that needs to be, and we all know it, is giving your child in the passenger seat a water bowl.
Oh, and if you were safe from water bottles, you might want to celebrate that with a sticker. You can buy from
www.violentRunning.co.uk, just down there. No, I mean, realistically, like people.
Next person that buys one should get a free sticker.
No, Chrome BMW Man is a prime example. Over 25, with his kid in the passenger seat, still drove like a dickhead and crashed into a lamppost.
He had a child in the car, if I remember right.
Yeah. He had his kid in the car.
This is why.
Either that, or he's just turned to a cop and gone, "Yeah, my child dropped the bottle in the footwell. There's no child, sir. No, my child. Where's my child gone?"
This is my point. There's too many ways and loopholes and ways around it and all of that stuff that it's not enforceable really.
It's just.
But like I said, that. Unless the policeman's going to go, "You look young and you've got passengers, I'm going to pull you over." Like,
yeah, but that's just a job's worth being a job's worth.
But
I'll be very careful of how far we go down with the judgment people before pulling over. So let's move on from that subject.
As far as I'm aware, the policeman has to have a good cause to pull you over or a good reason to pull you over.
Lucky we're not in a...
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Are we going down that rabbit hole, Melts? Are we going to jump down into the rabbit hole? Is that where we're going now?
Absolutely not. I think you might need an edit there, Bam.
No, I'm leaving that in. You chose to say it, mate.
He started digging and we went, nope.
I looked at it for a second and considered passing a comment, and then was like, no, this is bad for my YouTube career.
I saw the water leaking through the wall and decided to just back away slowly.
Speaking of backing away, you should back away with a cool hat available from violentrunningsyndicate.com.
We're starting to sound like an advertorial.
That was so much worse than your first segue. The first one was brilliant. That was pure.
I'm pretty sure he said .com as well.
He did say .com. It's
sorry, this paracetamol was properly kicking in.
The moral of that story, kids, I tell you what, they should make it illegal to drive on paracetamol if tonight's anything to go by.
500 milligram capsules, effective pain relief, easy to swallow. Whew.
I just don't. A, I don't see it working, and B, I think it's probably in some way, shape, or form against the Human Rights Act. Not that matters to the Tories.
That's a good point. Like, where does it stand on a? But then
you've got the freedom. You've got the right to the freedom of movement, which it inherently
why
prevents.
Can't I? How comes they can do it for motorbikes then? If you've not had a.
How come traffic lights exist? Fucked.
It's all a conspiracy, Bryn.
Like I said, I don't think it'll come to pass. It's one of those things.
No, it's a good hypothetical thing to talk about.
What? So if that law's a bit too far, what other law could you help to save the statistic of young people?
The 1 litre engine rule.
Doesn't stop you speeding.
All right.
1 litre eco boost will still do 120.
It does not stop you speeding, but you really have to want to speed. So I think it's a good idea.
It helps, but it still won't stop you doing over 100.
Yeah,
No,
but you can
like
still
I say,
do.
You have to have decided. You have to have committed. You have to have committed for a good few minutes to knowing that you want to break the law.
And then you're all the way through that time. You go, I really shouldn't be doing this. Well, this is quite naughty now. And you're at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the odds are it's a young person doing 45 miles an hour at 30 zone.
Past the local school at leaving time.
And tell me how I know, because they come past my house doing that.
I thought your road had speed bumps.
No. The road at the end...
That's just a shit road then.
And the road at the other end does. But the
It's
bit
just
in the
the
middle...
Birmingham Road, Bam.
Bam, for young drivers in their first car, they're not lowered, mostly for the first year anyway, because you can't afford it anyway. So you drive a really, really high, small hatchback that you don't care about. So you do fly over speed bumps at the speed limit.
Okay, so all young drivers' cars have to be on max speeding rods coilovers for the first year.
Speaking of shit coilovers, I reckon whoever does the road resurfacing should then drive down that road on a car with shit coilovers. Because the amount of brand new roads I've driven down that aren't smooth.
With a jug of water in their lap,
Yeah.
so that it looks like they've pissed themselves if they've not made it smooth enough.
And they've got to go to the Playboy Mansion.
What?
Yeah.
Would you want to turn up to the Playboy Mansion with wet
Is the
pants?
Playboy Mansion still a thing? Surely that's been cancelled by this time.
I think actually what you'll find is Hugh Hefner died.
That's a cancellation. It's the ultimate cancellation, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, we've gone off on a bit of a tangent.
We haven't gone off on a bit of a tangent.
Speaking of tangents, you can buy t-shirts from thissite.co.uk.
Thissite.co.uk. If anyone would like Milton's sponsorship for 2024, just drop me an email.
No, I'm not available to do segues for your videos. Like the segue to our sponsor.
There we go. That's what young people should have to do for the first year. Only segues.
How does that teach them driving?
Oh my god! Bryn, you didn't say anything about no passengers though. Segue with passengers.
Segue with a trailer.
No, just a backpack. Just on a Segway going down the...
You can't wear your mate like they were a toddler.
Well, you're going to have to if you're only allowed a Segway.
Oh, what, do you have stump pegs on it, Bryn? Or do they sit on the handlebars? You had a mate on it, you was always on the BMX, you know?
Yeah.
And when it got to a really steep hill, you'd have to get off and start pushing. One? No? Just me.
No, I remember that.
We did that.
So where we're at. So I think the only sensible thing is you limit the engine capacity, or maybe you limit the speed of the cars. Maybe you say that it's like a van; it can't go over 60 or 70.
That's another subject. Which
would only apply on motorways.
Why do cars need to go above 70 miles an
hour? They don't need
to.
Because it's fun. Next question.
Apart from on the public road, surely there's a track option. You say,
Milton, stop this thought before you give someone in government an idea, please, mate.
Well, they had it in Japan. If your car goes over 70 miles an hour or whatever speed it is, it just makes a really annoying noise.
No, it doesn't.
What? Really?
No, it doesn't. No. That's not how speed limiters work. The speed limiter in the Stagia, for example, just cuts the fuel when you get to 120 miles an hour.
That's a speed limiter, but so many domestic Japanese cars have a little bonger, and if you're going too fast, they just...
Bryn,
I'm fairly sure that's actually just K cars over 100 Ks.
Oh, can you just appreciate how good the Segway was going to be?
Yeah, but I had to stop it.
But just appreciate it and I'll be happy.
I've just said yes.
Thank you.
Tell him you're proud of him, Dad.
That's how we're going. We've just come back into this as well.
Tell me you're proud of me, Daddy.
I'm proud of him because he's finally done a year's driving, and now he can stop asking me to drive him and his bloody mates about. Because that's
not
how
a
that
segue to
really
a product.
Goes.
But speaking of proud of driving, by the time this comes out, me and Bryn have been done some mad skid at Teesside.
Yeah,
you'll be on the way home.
Yeah.
I'll be about halfway home and in a ditch because I've fallen asleep.
I will be about an hour.
But you didn't have any
home.
passengers, so you'll be fine.
I will have had a passenger and will have been to the seaside.
Oh yeah, we're going to the seaside for fish and chips after a diff day. So yeah. I'm not getting home until 2 a.m. and then I need to unload the car.
And then be full of fish and chips, so fall asleep even harder.
So yeah, if me and Bryn on in the next podcast are just Matt and Bam arguing about and interrupting each other, that's why. But Teesside was sick.
So getting back on topic, because Milton is determined to have segues this week. I don't know. I just don't think. I don't think it's right. I don't think we should be resisting.
Restricted.
That's the one. Restricting people's movement, and I don't think we should be telling young kids that they can't drive around with their mates. They know the risks. If you know the risks, maybe they should have to sign waivers before they get into cars. If you kill me, it's not your fault, mate. Sorted. Liability waivers, then no one gets sued. Sorted. Happy days.
I also think you shouldn't be able to have a financed car for your first. Oh no, that limits people who haven't got much money.
No, it doesn't.
Fair. Yeah?
No, we all remember the days of the £300 banger. Bring it back.
You can finance it, it just can't be worth more than £500.
Yeah.
That's the rules.
I think everyone should have to have a shitbox for their first car.
I think, yep.
That they learn to maintain themselves. And then when you can drive a proper car...
Maintain
Alternative idea.
Okay.
You're allowed to take passengers, but every passenger that gets in your car, it gets restricted by 20 horsepower. So you won't want to take passengers because if you have a full car full of mates, you're literally crawling.
Especially if you've got 68 horsepower IGO. 3 passengers, you've got 8 horsepower.
Bryn, how would you manage that?
ECU that is clever and has sensors in the seats.
Yeah, sensors in the seats exist right now because they tell you whether or not the seatbelt's on or not.
Well, sometimes I can put my bag on the passenger seat and it starts going bong.
Well, maybe
mate, if you want to put a bag on your passenger seat and lose 20 horsepower, that's on you. You're stupid at that point.
So brake check, laptop and bag goes on the floor, and then you get 20 horsepower back.
That's where they should be.
Personally, I put my bag in the boot.
Oh no! What kind of a weirdo puts the bag in a boot? You need to be on a quick exit.
I'm with Matt on this one.
No, it belongs next to you.
Especially when it's got my work laptop in it.
Yeah,
do you know how many people get their passenger window smashed in and their bag stolen off the front seat?
Yeah, and I don't leave.
In a terrible place.
I don't leave it there. Is when I'm on the way to work, I'll get in the car, put my bag over.
Okay, so you're stuck at some traffic lights. What? Somebody stops somebody sprinting over and stealing your laptop off the seat.
I'd reach for
it.
I actually got used to putting stuff in the boot when I had the MX-5 on the road. Because you didn't tie anything down, it'd blow away. So everything just went in the boot. It was easier.
Matt lost 3 laptops due to that physics.
But when Matt drove an MX-5 on the road, that was many years ago. Laptops were heavy.
Down, windows down. You just straight in. You don't even have to break the window.
I think we're going massively off topic, so we'll catch you all in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.